Welcome to the Own It Sister podcast with the amazing life coach, Sarah Oxendine.
What's up? Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here today. Hello, everyone. This is Own It Sister. This is the very first podcast number 1, and our topic today is identity crisis. So the reason I picked this topic is, one, I'm a life coach and I work specifically with mothers who are struggling, going through an identity crisis. This is something that's very close to my heart because I've gone through this before in my life. But I feel like when you're going through it, it feels so much heavier than it needs to. And so if we can just take like some of the shame away and let's just like really talk about what is an identity crisis in the first place. Here's the truth. If you're a human on planet Earth working and moving and shifting, making shifts in your life, right? Trying to be a better human, you're going to go through different identity crisis because every time we have a major shift, a major change in our life, we go through one on some level. So let's just say, since this is like specifically for mothers, let's just say, but if you're not a mother, this applies to you too. Just think about, maybe when you graduated from college and started your first job, or you went from high school to the college life, right? Think there's big change and big shifts. Or before you were a mother and you had no children, and now you're a mother. And what you'll notice is when you go through an identity crisis, or a person goes through one, it isn't like you just, like the first day of the transition, all of a sudden there's this identity crisis. No, it's like years into it, right? And so for me, I was a mother of 4, and it was like, I'd probably been a mother for like 8 years. It wasn't even, and for everyone it's different, and there's no right or wrong. So that's something to really understand, is there's no right or wrong about this, okay? It's okay if you're in one. It's not a problem. It's just a part of like the human brain developing, and it's okay. And so for me, it was, I had been a mother for all these years, but it took all of these years that all of a sudden one day I woke up. And for me specifically, I was in a seminar and they asked this question like, hey, write down the 10 things that you love to do. And I was like, I couldn't name one. Holy smokes, I couldn't name one. And then that was like the beginning. It was like the realization, like, what? And then I started like looking in the mirror. I'm like, who am I? Like, you don't even know what you love to do. Like, I knew what I loved to do, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but I didn't know what I love to do right now and in it. And for me in that moment, I actually did know what I loved to do 5 years ago. So I guess it had been 5 years of me not taking care of my needs. Okay. I was just in crunch mode of motherhood. And I had, the age ranges from like toddlers to 8, maybe 9 or 10, and these 4 little kids. And it was just pick up, drop off. Actually, we were homeschooling, I think, at the time. And it was just like in the mix of taking care of my husband's needs and my children's needs that I just fully lost who I was. And it wasn't like I didn't know I was a mother and a wife and a woman, but I didn't know who Sarah Oxendine as an individual was in this anymore. Right? Like I knew my role as a mom, I knew my role as a wife, but if you take all that away, who was I now? I had lost touch with that. And so what I want to bring to your awareness is, and even just suggest that when you're in a situation where all of a sudden you're like, I don't even know who I am. I don't know what I like. I don't know. Just slow your roll and be like, okay, you just take it one question at a time. And I'm serious. That's what I did. And it took me, I'm not going to lie. It has been a journey for me. It has been a journey, but I didn't have someone walking me through this or helping me through this. It was like my own trial and error. And so what I learned was I needed to take it one day, one question, one thing at a time. So for me, it had gotten to such a place, like I didn't know, like just in the restaurant making decisions, I'd be like, oh, honey, you just order for me. Like, what? No. Like, and for me, it was just easier. Like, I already had tons of decisions I was making all day. Like, I was just one decision I wasn't going to need to make. And so when I made the conscious effort to be like, no, what do you want right now? And I would ask myself this. It would be like, okay, so and for me in my brain, especially when it came to like going out, like, this is really funny. I was taught as a teenager dating, right? I was taught that when you order something, he orders first, and then you can order, like, to be like dating etiquette, right? Listen to what he orders, or ask him what he wants to order, listen to what he is, see how much that costs, and then you order nothing that, like, the same amount or something less. Like, don't order anything more than the person who's paying for you. And so that kind of just stuck with me, like, even through being married, which is so odd, right? Like, who cares? I could order something that costs more. But in my, like, practical brain, it was like, what's the cheapest thing on the menu? And do I like it? Like, what's the cheapest thing that I like on the menu that I can, eat and still enjoy? But it wasn't like, what do I want? And so I had to really break this down and be like, okay, if money wasn't an issue at all, what would I want to eat right now? Not what's the best deal, not what's in the budget, not what's on sale. What would I want to eat if I just took all of that out? And I just did that, started doing that all the time. And of course, it doesn't mean like if you have a budget, you just, go spend $50 on lobster, right? That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying just becoming aware of what are the things that you would choose if you could. Okay. And so, and then, of course, you might have a budget. You might be like, yeah, I totally want that $50 steak, but I only have $25 in my pocket. But at least I know I would want that $50 steak, and it's totally fine. Maybe you're going to budget for that next time, right? That's the other thing with it. It's like, just because just knowing what you want is super, super important. And then you can figure out how to make those things happen. And for me, what I was doing, totally ignoring everything that I wanted, not even being aware of what it was in the first place, and just doing what was practical, what made the most sense for the situation. And I mean, for sure, that's a great skill, and I love that I have that skill. But through my journey of just continuing to practice that, I lost touch. Maybe I never even knew who I was in that situation, to be honest. And so I just got to know myself. Okay, so for wherever you are, whether it's you're starting a new job, or maybe all of a sudden you're making a buttload more money than you used to. Okay, so that can cause an identity crisis. And again, it's just the same reasons. It's just because you're now in a situation that is different than it was before. So like when you were not a mother, you had a specific way of living, right? Now you become a mother, and now you got to re-identify, like, who am I with all these kids and this husband, right? Who do I want to be in this situation? And so you have to re-identify and get to know yourself through it. And what I had done is I had just totally put all of my needs aside and just only paid attention to the children and to the husband. And then one day, years later, like, looked in the mirror and I'm like, who are you? Okay. So it's so important that through your journey, you get to know who you are. So as you have these changes, it won't be so huge and drastic. Okay. Now, if you're already there, it's okay. It's just about getting to know who you are in these new circumstances, in this new situation. And at first, I think the reason it feels so scary is because you're like this human and you're looking at this woman and you're like, who are you? And it's just like, there's such a disconnect. But listen, here's the deal. Here's a beautiful thing in this, is that now you get to understand and discover who you are. That's amazing. Maybe for the first time, but just because you never knew her doesn't mean you can't get to know her now. And even if you knew her once and now you're not sure who she is now, you're just going to get to know her, and it is a beautiful thing. Like, you need to date yourself, right? You need to like look yourself in the mirror and you need to say, I love you. Here is one thing that you can do, which is really, really great. It's called the mirror exercise. And so what you're going to do is every single night when you're getting ready for bed, you're going to go to the shower by yourself, shut the door. I suggest locking it, and you're going to look yourself in the mirror. You guys, this is such a great exercise. I did this. I do this still. And you look yourself in the mirror and you tell yourself all your successes for the day. So, I mean, from like, oh, we got Sally to brush her teeth today all by herself. We've been working on it. That's amazing. Maybe Tommy's potty trained and this has been, you know what I'm saying? Or I didn't yell at my teenager, or I didn't yell at my child when I really wanted to, or maybe I got all the laundry done, or maybe it's I got that promotion that I've been working towards, or maybe it's I just applied for the promotion, right? Whatever your successes are throughout the day, small or big, all of them, you just tell yourself good job. Like good job on this, good job on that. And let me just tell you, here's the key. Eye to eye in the mirror. Okay? Eye to eye. You're looking yourself in the eye. And then you, excuse me. And then you're going to say, good job, right? Well done. You did amazing today. You freaking rocked that. That's awesome. I love you. You are enough. I mean, and so you get to decide how you want to verbiage it. Like some people might want to say, I am enough. For me, I really like being like the other person telling myself. But I play around with it. Sometimes I say, I'm enough. I love you. Or I love myself. But the truth is, most of the time I say, you are enough and you are worthy and I love you. Eye to eye, like I am looking myself in the eye when I do this. This is such a powerful exercise because here we are, and especially as women and as mothers, whether you're a single mom or you're a wife, however that is, it's so easy to get lost in the mix of all of it because there's so much to be juggling all the time. And so just be very careful with the verbiage in your head, right? Like when I say things to myself like, oh my gosh, this is so much, this is so hard, I'm making it harder by using that verbiage. Okay, so be aware of that. And number 2 is, how often do you tell yourself I love you? Right? We tell our kids I love you. Like, I mean, I tell my kids I love you like all the time, right? I'm sure you tell yours all the time, like 20 times a day, 100 times a day. Like, I love you, mwah, mwah, mwah. And it's easier, I feel like, when they're younger, like my teenagers, I probably could do a better job. I definitely say I love you to them. But when they were 2 and I was kissing their face all the time, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I love you. Like, it just seemed so much easier. Now they're kind of prickly teenagers. So I have an 18-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old, and then a 4-year-old. We started all over. I love it. And so I have all the different age groups. So I really get it. I get all of it. And so it can be harder, but with ourselves, like how I remember before I started doing this exercise, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. I remember when I first did it, I was just like bawled. I just was bawling. Like it was so intimate and so amazing. So just know that some of you are going to try this and look at yourself and be like, this is stupid. I'm not doing this. But I want you to question yourself, like, why? Like if you really love you, like why not tell yourself? It's going to feel uncomfortable and it's going to feel silly. But the truth is like you need to know that you love you. And some of you are going to look in that mirror and you're going to feel disgusted and feel disappointed in yourself and not want to say it. But here's the deal. It doesn't matter what has ever happened to you in your past. It doesn't matter any abuse that's happened. It doesn't matter any abuse that's happened to you or that you've done, or the divorce or the cheating, whatever it is. All of those things cannot take away your worthiness. All of those things don't make you less valuable as a human on planet Earth. Okay? So you, no matter what, no matter your past, no matter your circumstances, even where you are right now, It doesn't matter. You are 100% worthy. You are 100% capable, and you are 100% lovable right here, right now, just as you are. All the mistakes, all of your past, and your brain will want to say, that's not true. Nobody can love me, or that's not true. I'm not worthy because I did this. It doesn't matter. You can't. Being a human on planet Earth, you are born 100% worthy, 100% lovable, 100% capable, and there's nothing you can do about it. And there's nothing anyone else can do to you to take that away or make that less. It just is, because you're a human born on planet Earth. Okay? So when you're struggling and moving through this identity crisis, whether it's because you're in motherhood and you're feeling an identity crisis, or maybe you're in a new marriage and you're in an identity crisis, or maybe it's a really long marriage, or maybe you've lost a child, or you know whatever, maybe you are making tons of money, or maybe you were making tons of money and now you're not making any, right? Like, whatever it is, you have the ability and the capability to overcome all of it. You have the ability to transform to the next form of you, which what that requires of you is for you to work through this crisis. It requires of you to move through this crisis, to learn to love yourself through this transition and shift. Learn to get to know yourself. Who are you now in these new circumstances? Okay? So let's just say if I was going from making $20,000 and now I'm making $300,000, maybe I'm making $1 million, maybe I'm making $5 million, right? And now I have all of, like, my circumstances have changed. And I have all of this money and I'm like, I don't know, like, who am I as a human who now can buy whatever they want? That's not a problem. You just ask yourself, who do I want to be right now? Right? What do I want to buy, and why do I want to buy it? Do I like my reasons why? All right. Or maybe you're a mother. Maybe you're recently single or newly married. And maybe you got some other kids with your kids, right? Whatever that is, whatever the circumstance isn't the problem. It's your thoughts about what's happening in your life that's causing all of this chaos. It's the losing touch with who you are inside. You are not going to solve any of these problems out here. You have to turn it inward, and you have to address what's going on inside of you internally. It's going to be very uncomfortable, and it's going to be work. But I am telling you right now, you have the ability to transform into the next version of yourself. And when you make decisions because that's who you want to be, not out of fear. I mean, and it's such a more beautiful place. You will love who you are when you look in the mirror, when you're making decisions because of love for yourself, not because of fear of what might happen, not because of fear of what other people are going to think of you, but just because you love your reason of why you're making those choices. A whole new thing. You will be able to wake up, look yourself in the mirror, you'll be able to say, that's right, I love you, you're freaking awesome, and you rock. And it isn't going to be because you made some major life-changing decision and, you decided to leave your family and go travel the world, or you decided to stay in a relationship that you don't really want to be in. It's going to be because you made a choice, or you made choices based on reasons that you like. I choose to stay married to my husband because it's a choice. Because I'm willing to take all of it, the good and the bad, and I'm doing it on purpose. Because I'm willing to work on me for those things that are like, every relationship had like 50-50. Half the time it's going to suck. And half the time it's going to be amazing. And when we can just embrace and understand, like, oh, this is just the human experience, it's okay that I, don't like my husband right now, or it's okay that we're disagreeing, or it's okay that it feels really heavy right now, or it's okay that he's human and he makes mistakes. It's okay that I make mistakes. I'm just going to continue to work on being my best self and continue with the growth. Okay? So again, an identity crisis, you guys. This can be anything. And the truth is, we should probably all hope we go through one to some extent. Because if you never go through one, then you probably haven't made any type of big shift in your life that's causing you to have to really look inside and rediscover who you are in these new circumstances. Okay? An identity crisis doesn't have to be this terrible thing. It's a renewing, a new discovery of getting to know who you are in this new territory. This is a beautiful thing. This is a beautiful thing. It feels scary because it feels like so much is out of our control, but that's just parts in our head. It's all in your control. It's okay. You don't recognize that girl in the mirror? That's okay. You're just going to get to know her. Okay? Like there's no reason to be afraid about it. It's just where you are. And it's okay. So, let go of the fear and embrace the love. And when you make choices from love and not out of fear, you will feel so much better all of the time. Anytime you're feeling rushed to make a decision, anytime you're feeling fear to make a decision, I want you to slow down and just be like, okay, I just need to stay here. I need to stay put, and I need to just slow it down, and I need to think clearly, and I just need to make a decision. But not a decision out of rushed, we better do this right now. If we don't, not out of fear, but out of love. If I love myself and I love the other person, what's the choice I'm going to make? Right? So often what happens is we discard ourselves and only make the decision out of love for the other person, but we're not loving ourselves at the same time. And that leads to making decisions for everyone else and not us is not a good thing. One day you're going to wake up and regret all the choices that you've made and not know who you are. But when you make the decisions out of love for you and out of love for them, real sincere love, you're going to make decisions and you like your reasons why. Okay, that's another thing. You need to like your reason, and it's okay to make a choice just because it's what you want. It's okay. And then you got to have your back the whole way through. Okay, so there's no going oh, I shouldn't have made that choice. I should have made a different choice. No, flip, man. Make that decision. Have your back. Make it out of love for you, love for everyone else in the situation, but it's love. And then have your back the whole way through. You make it complicated. We make it complicated when we do this. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it would have been better if I did this, or if it would have been. No. You make that decision and you go for it. Okay? You make the decision and you go for it. So, some homework for you is do the mirror exercise, right? You're going to go to the bathroom tonight. You're going to close the door, lock it, because you might get emotional. You might not even be able to do it the first time. Don't judge yourself. Just let it go, okay? And what you're going to do is say all the things you did amazing. Tell yourself, I'm enough. I'm worthy. I'm lovable. I'm capable. And I love you. Looking yourself in the mirror eye to eye, game changer, every single night. Okay? In fact, make it a goal to do it every single night for 1 month. For 1 month, and see the change, see the shift, see what happens inside of you as you open up and blossom and just start to love yourself. You know, I am about 50 pounds overweight, and I only used to I used to have notes around my whole house. It was like, you shut that fridge, you fat pig. 3 miles a day keeps the fat cow away. Little stickies all over. And when I learned this concept of love yourself healthy, and you need to love yourself now right where you are. Let me just tell you, it's taken me probably about 1.5 years actually it probably took me about a year. And now it's been, another year that I've been loving myself this whole time. But like, I love my body and I love myself more than I ever have in my whole life. Right now, 50 pounds overweight, totally okay. Like I am a sexy, hot, amazing woman. And you need to find that for yourself. 3 years ago, I would have not felt that way. 50 pounds ago, I didn't feel that way. So it isn't the body, it isn't your circumstance that's the problem. It's how you're choosing to think about it. Okay? So as you get to know yourself, what do you want? Make decisions based on what do you want and like your reasons why. Make your decisions out of love for you and love for those around you. And just because, let's just say you're like, okay, I love myself so much. And so, you know what? My friend wants me to watch her kids. I don't want to watch her kids. You don't have to be rude about it, right? You can say it out of love. Listen, I really love you. I'm just not going to be able to help you out. I can't watch the kids today. Like you can say it in a loving way. Okay. And it doesn't mean, and you might find that you don't want to, but then the type of friend that you want to be is a friend who watches her friends' kids sometimes, and you're going to make an exception. And then you actually like that you're doing it. Okay. So it's all self-discovery, all awareness. But I understand being in an identity crisis feels very scary and it feels very alone. But what I want you to know, you're not alone. Most of us humans here on planet Earth, at some point in our life, we go through some kind of identity crisis. And I'd like to say that it's a good thing you're going through one, because that means you are growing from who you once were into this, you are evolving into a new version of yourself. So get to know yourself on the process in this journey. And I'm really excited for you. So again, I'm Sarah Oxendine with Own It Sister is the name of this podcast and also the name of my 6-week program. I'm a life coach and I work with women, mothers who are going through an identity crisis. So if you want to work one-on-one with me, I would love to do that. I have a 6-week program that's going to be starting at the end of May. So message me, or there should be some way. I will have a way to contact me, probably a phone number. Or you can send me your email and I will get you, we can email, you can call me, but let's get, I do free consultations. Let's see if we're a good fit, because I know that going through this journey, like if I had someone to hold my hand and teach me the tools, how long ago was it that I went through my identity crisis? Now, it must be like 8 years ago. Like 8 years ago, I could have shifted so much. It could have shifted so much faster, but it was very excruciating during the time and learning all these things on my own. So I can help you move through, help you learn how to make decisions in a way that are going to serve you. Again, my name is Sarah Oxendine, and I'm here to serve you with Own It Sister. Message me, call me. Let's get you set up with a one-on-one. If not, we will see you next week on this podcast. And if you can get everything you need out of my podcast, that is awesome and amazing. And if you want to work one-on-one with me, then let's do that. Own it, sister. Have a good day. Bye.